Hmm. Okay. So all of you on your videos? All of you on your videos? Okay, Harika, can you repeat this procedure, whatever I told you for 454 sequencing now? Just give me the step-by-step procedure of 454 sequencing. Yes. Harika,
Sir,
just tell me. All of you on your videos. Okay, Srividya, Srividya. Balaji,
Sir,
so can you
Sir.
repeat the process?
Sir, first in the starting, a DNA sample is taken and it is broken up into small fragments, sir.
Okay.
Then it is the restriction, but it is done using restriction enzymes. Then tiny
resin beads.
as tiny beads are added to it, and then the DNA. Sir, then the DNA gets attached to each and every bead, sir.
No, the DNA is attached to the beads.
Yes, sir. I said this.
Okay.
DNA is attached to the beads.
Yeah. Then
Sir, then the yes, sir. Just a second. Sir, then the strand gets broken down as the DNA gets attached.
just continue, Balaji. Pradeepak, can you continue?
Yes, sir. Initially, the strands are broken down using restriction enzymes, um, and then tiny resin beads are added, and they're attached to the DNA. And
Yes.
just one, sir.
Just continue.
So then the DNA sequence on the beads, which are
So by using PCR technique, the fragments are cut into even more tinier fragments.
Okay. Just listen once again. So what we're trying to do here is we'll just take DNA sample initially, then we'll break them into smaller pieces. So fragments are generated here. Once these fragments are generated, these fragments are attached to the beads. Okay. And the beads, they contain primers. And these beads, along with the DNA fragments, are taken into plates, wells. Okay. And where these plates, when they're there, they are actually amplified. So once they're amplified, what happens is during this process. So amplification is nothing but addition of nucleotide. So whenever a nucleotide is added, there a pyrophosphate is released according to the DNA polymerase. Okay, polymerization, DNA polymerization. A pyrophosphate is released. Whatever pyrophosphate is released, when it's released, it emits the light. And as a pyrophosphate is the DNA nucleotide that is added with the fluorescent probe, when a light is produced, a particular light with color will be there. It can be a green, yellow, blue, or red, anything. So based on the nucleotide, whatever which is released with a specific probe, we try to see that what are the nucleotides. So once we have the nucleotide, then know what is the sequence. Okay, so that's why this is known as sequencing by synthesis. So you're synthesizing the DNA and then you're deriving the sequence from that. Is it clear? So now we'll move on to the next one. So the second method is nothing but the ion tolerant semiconductor sequencing. Okay, so the ion tolerant semiconductor sequencing was introduced in the market in 2010. Okay, and this was brought by a company which is known as Life Technologies, and this is a very similar process to that of 454 pyrosequencing. Okay, but the thing is, it does not use fluorescent label nucleotides. The only thing is that. Okay, and how does it use here? So it is particularly based on the hydrogen ion detection that is used during the process of sequencing. Okay, the hydrogen ion detection. So the same thing here. Same thing. We have again DNA fragments which are there and which are added to the bead, and they are plated in a microvelsn plate, and that plate is incorporated here. And whenever the reaction is there, pyrophosphate. But along with that here, a hydrogen molecule is also released here. That is captured. So what is happening here? A hydrogen molecule. We know that when you have gone through the membrane dynamics in either chloroplast or in mitochondria. So whenever the hydrogen concentration is increasing, you can see the change in pH is there. So that change in pH, the same principle is actually used here to detect. Okay, so the change in the pH while incorporating each nucleotide with the fragment in the pearl is detected by the sensor and converted to the voltage signal that is proportional to the number of nucleotides incorporated. Okay, so here this principle is used here. Okay, so when we know that this hydrogen is actually giving us the number of nucleotides which are actually incorporated. Okay, so the basic principle here is when the nucleotide is inserted, the hydrogen ions concentration is increasing. At the same time, the pH will be detected, change in the pH. So the change in the pH is actually converted by the sensor and converted to a voltage signal. Okay, and the voltage will give you what is that nucleotide. So different nucleotides have different voltages here. Same time, you'll know the total nucleotides which are incorporated, and at the same time, you know what is the nucleotide system. Okay, and but the limitation with this is 200 to 600 base pairs. Okay, 200 to 600 base pairs. So the major benefit of this technology is longer read length and speed of sequencing. And the disadvantages is difficulty in interpreting homopolymer sequences. If the sequence is homopolymer, then we can't use it. Okay, but if the sequence is a normal heterogeneous or heteropolymer, then we can easily work on with it. So the disadvantage is with this, but the major benefit is the longer you want read sequence, you can easily sequence. At the same time, the speed of sequencing is more. Okay, so in simple, ion torrent semiconductor sequencing uses the same principle of 4-5-4 sequencing. Okay, so the same DNA fragments are taken, they are broken into smaller pieces, and these pieces are attached to a bead, and they are actually taken into a micro well, and that micro well, during the process of synthesis, there is a release of pyrophosphate. Along with that, there is a release of hydrogen. So this release of hydrogen, when it is taken, it gives you a change in the pH, and the change in the pH will be detected by the sensor and will convert it to voltage. And this voltage will be taken into consideration for the nucleotide. So different nucleotides have different voltages there, and at the same time, the total voltage will give you how many nucleotides we are incorporating. And in this way, we try to detect your DNA sequence. So we have seen what is the advantage. More sequence can be done here, and speed is also increased. At the same time, the disadvantage is that when the sequence is homopolymer, we can't read accurately. Okay, so this is about ion torrent sequence. So on your videos, all of you. All? Shri Mahalakshmi.
Sir,
So can you repeat this process, whatever I told you about ion torrent semiconductor sequencing?
iron torrent like semiconductor sequencing, sir. Like it uses it uses microwell, sir, containing chip that has been with several identical fragments. If there is any change in pH, then while incorporating each nucleate with fragment in the pearl
Don't read the PPT.
by the sensor, sir,
Okay.
converted into voltage signal that is proportional to the number of nucleotides incorporated, sir.
Don't read the PPT. I told you the extra points that
Yes.
you have to tell me. Whatever is there in the PPT is not the same thing what I told you now.
I actually followed the PPT, sir, because I'm not well.
You should follow the class, not the PPT.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Balaji, you raise your hand.
Yes, sir, I can tell.
Any doubt?
Can I tell it, sir?
Yeah, you can tell.
Sir, it is same like
Just 1 minute. Who is that? Unmute yourself. Mute yourself. One 1019 and Pavni. Mute yourself. Okay, Balaji, continue.
Sir, it is same like 454 sequencing, sir. But coming to the process, first we need to take the DNA. We need to break it into smaller parts using restriction enzymes, and then it is attached to the beads, and then these beads are transferred into wells. But it is the process is same like 454 sequencing, but we don't use fluorescent stain over here, sir. Instead, we take advantage of the pH changes, and here the hydrogen ion is liberated. So this hydrogen ion, when it is liberated, the pH is conducted by the voltage, and this change in the voltage is taken note down.
Okay. Yes, another more important point.
Sir,
So, what is the advantage and what are the limitations? What are the advantages and what are the limitations?
So may I?
Yeah.
So advantages are we can take huge amounts of DNA fragments at a time, and disadvantages we can't use this homo. I mean, if we keep the homo polymer, then it is hard to differentiate. So.
Okay. So those are the advantages and those are the limitations. Okay. So we have seen two methods now. Sequencing by synthesis. One is 454 sequencing, and the second one is ion torrent semiconductor sequencing approach. Okay, and we have another two methods. So we'll see after the break. So we'll meet again back at 9:40. Okay, so we'll meet back around 9:40. Okay. So now we'll go on with the next method of second generation sequencing technology. That's nothing but Illumina or Solexa sequencing. Okay. Illumina or Solexa sequencing. Now, what is this method here? So, actually, this methodology was actually developed by Solexa, okay, and later acquired by Illumina and commercialized by Illumina. So, this is known as Illumina Solexa sequencing analyzer. It's available in market now. Okay, so what they do? They are actually using the second method, nothing but sequencing by ligation. Okay, sequencing by ligation. So what they do? They just take the samples as usual, fragment them. This is also a similar one which is there with them. But here, after fragmenting, they are adding adapters. So ligate with adapters. The fragments are ligated with adapters. Now, what are adapters? Any idea what are adapters?
no, sir.
Anyone? So adapters are small fragments of DNA which can actually, the sequence is known to us and it can actually be used as a primer indirectly. Okay, so these adapters are actually the fragments which are there. So what we do is, once we add these adapters to the fragments, whatever they are generated, now we know what is the sequence we want to sequence. Okay. Now the advantage with this adapters is these adapters are fixed to respective complementary adapters and then hooked on a slide with a number of variants on a solid plate. So till now we are saying that we are using a micro well. Okay, but they are plates like tighter plates what we have while we're using the micro array. Okay, here the thing is it's just like a slide. Whatever slide we see in the lab, it's just like that slide. And in that slide, we have just a small well. Okay, a well. Into that you can add this sample and add the thing and just keep that plate in that machine. Okay, so these adapters are actually fixed to the respect to complementary adapters and then put on the slide with the number of variants on a solid plate. Then what is happening here? So we now have seen that we have taken a sample, we have fragmented into pieces, then each fragment is attached to an adapter, and that adapter is already having the complementary adapter, and that complementary adapter is actually used here for sequence. Now, once this is available and is placed in a well, then each sequence attached to the solid plate is amplified using PCR. So the same PCR is actually done here. Okay? So once it is amplified using PCR, and this is known as PCR bridge amplification. Okay, this is known as PCR bridge amplification. So once this amplification is done, we see more identical copies of sequences that are known. Okay, then each sequence there is a cluster right there, because while doing the PCR, the same gene or same copy will be done several times but for different lengths. Okay, so there will be a cluster which is produced, and each cluster will have millions of copies of the original DNA sequence. So till this step, it is they have ligated your sequence. They are ligated. Now, what is the next step? So the same step of Illumina again. So what we do, we'll take each copy, whatever copies which are there, and then we subject by adding the sequence by synthesis approach. So that's why Illumina has acquired this technology and they've integrated with them. Okay, so first we ligate them and then we synthesize them, and whatever sequence we get, that is sequencing by synthesis approach, that is fragments are taken, they're amplified. While they're amplified, pyrophosphate is released. That pyrophosphate will give you a signal, and that signal is recorded as a nucleotide, and that nucleotide will take this. So the same step is followed. Okay, but it's a hybrid. So first ligation is done so that all the sequences are done. Then they are composed. Okay, so this is known as Illumina Solixa sequence. Now, this approach employs a reversible terminators and add primers, modify nucleotides along with DNA partners. Okay, so whatever modified nucleotide sequence is their action of primers. So we know that already the same step is followed in the Illumina sequencing. Okay, so how do we detect here is, we know that a signal will be emitted when a laser falls on that. So how that is captured? So these people have developed a different technology to identify whatever laser is emitted, and they call it as coupled charge device camera. Okay, coupled charge camera, coupled charge device camera, which indirectly gives you directly the sequence. Okay, so initially it produces short waves of that space, and then they had advantage which they could be paired and short waves. Okay, so the sequence of both ends of this DNA is recorded. The latest version is capable of sequencing more than 600 GB, 600 giga base pairs. That's the maximum capacity. That's why Illumina has acquired the Solixa technology. Okay, the maximum capacity is 600 gigabases. Okay, and short read length is about 125. So a sequence which you give 125 and a maximum sequence what the size is 600 megabases. So simply you can just give a fungal genome or a bacterial genome, the entire genome sequence will get just as a report to you. Okay, in one turn. That's the advantage with this Illumina Solixa sequencing. Okay, Illumina Solixa sequencing. Okay. So what is the method which is followed here? So this actually follows a method which is known as fragment ligation. So what they do, simply we take sample, we break into some fragments, then ends are ligated with adapters, both ends. Okay, once they are ligated, both the ends, these are actually having a complementary adapters, and they are on a Petri plate. I mean a solid slide-like plate. Then on the plate, the simple procedure of PCR is followed, which is known as PCR bridge amplification. Then several copies are produced. Then these several copies are subjected to sequencing by synthesis. So what we have here is we have a reversible terminators, we have primers, we have modified nucleotides here, okay, along with DNA polymers which are added on the slide. Okay, so as and when the nucleotide is added, we know that fluorescent probe is there, which is released. Okay, so each nucleotide is labeled with a fluorescent probe that has one is unique with and one with the hydroxyl group. Okay, so this fluorescent probe, when released, is actually detected by the coupled charge device camera. Okay, and whatever laser is there is emitted, which fall on the light, that is detected by this CCD camera. Once this CCD camera is detecting the sequence, it can read the lens maximum. Okay, and the maximum capacity is 600 gigabase pairs, and the minimum thing is 125 base pairs. So this is how people start sequencing the genomes of nothing but bacteria and fungal at a speed. Okay, and we have another one, which is nothing but ABI solid sequencing. ABI or solid sequencing. So actually, ABI or solid sequencing is incorporated in the market by Life Technologies, which was later taken over by Applied Biosystems. The same Life Technologies have developed a second method, which was known as solid. Okay, and this was acquired by a company which is known as Applied Biosystems (ABI). It's well known for machines which are for life sciences. Okay. Now, what is that solid? So, solid means supported oligonucleotide ligation and detection. Supported oligonucleotide ligation and detection. That is meant as solid. Okay. So, this solid method was actually developed, sequencing followed by the sequencing by ligation. Same method, sequencing by ligation. Okay. So what do we do here? So the process consists of multiple sequencing rounds, which starts by attaching adapters to the DNA fragment, picks on the beads, and then cloned by PCR emulsion. So you can see here almost the things are almost same here again. We take fragments, then we attach it to the adapters, and these adapters they are fixed on the beads, and then we use PCR. The same thing. But these beads and all these things, they are placed on a glass slide. Okay, so consisting of 8 mer with fluorescent label like that, and the emitted color is recorded. Okay, this is also the same. So this is about solid sequence. So what we are doing here, simply we'll take DNA sequence fragments, we'll break them into small pieces again, and we add adapters to the DNA fragments, and then these adapters and DNA fragments are fixed on the beads, and then they are cloned in the PCR emulsion. So once they are cloned on the PCR emulsion. While cloning, that means while adding nucleotide, there will be a emission of the fluorescent probe. Nothing but the fluorescent probe. Once the fluorescent probe is released, you can see what color is emitted. Based on the color is detected and particular nucleotide is detected. And this is how solid sequencing is. Okay. And so we have seen now what are the 4 different methods. Okay. So the next class we'll see what is third generation sequencing technologies. What are they? For today's class, a summary is that we have seen that we have learned about 4 different technologies: Roche 454 sequencing, iron torrent sequencing, Illumina Solexo sequencing, and API solid sequencing. And these second generation technologies are actually based on 2 important methods. First one is sequencing by synthesis and sequencing by ligation. Roche 454 sequencing and iron torrent sequencing are based on sequencing by synthesis. And Illumina Solexa sequencing and API solid sequencing are based on sequencing by ligation approach. So these approaches give a capacity of maximum of gigabase per sequencing at minimum of 126 sequencing. Okay, so that's the maximum capacity, that is the minimum capacity, and automatically it has increased the speed, and people are able to sequence normal bacterial genomes and fungal genomes with these technologies. Okay, so this is about second generation sequencing technologies. So any doubts with this second generation sequencing technologies?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
Okay. So then in the next class, we'll continue with the third generation sequencing technologies. And so if there are no doubts, I'll conclude the class here. Okay. Right. Thank you. And have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
So
Good morning, sir.
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 Okay. Good morning. So we'll start this session for today. So in the previous session, we have learned that about second generation sequencing technologies and how they differ from the first generation. So the advantage with the second generation when compared with the first generation sequencing technology is that they generated millions of short reads parallelly. Then the speed of process of sequencing is faster. Then there were a detection of sequencing output is direct and there is no error process. And we have seen that there are four different technologies. First one is Roche 454 sequencing. Second one is ion torrent sequencing. Third one is Illumina or Solexa sequencing. And fourth one is solid sequencing. And we have seen that Roche and ion torrent are actually both are sequencing by synthesis, and Solexa and solid are sequencing by ligation. Okay, these two techniques are. And we've to discuss in brief. So Roche actually follows a very simple method. So first it tries to break the fragments, and these fragments are actually linked to a bead, and this bead is actually placed in a Petri plate. Okay, I mean microwell, and in the microwell a PCR reaction is run. While running the PCR reaction, nucleotide is added, a pyrophosphate is released, and that pyrophosphate is actually taken into consideration to calculate the uh, nucleotide which is inserted. So this is what Roche 454 sequencing method follows. Okay. Now ion torrents sequencing actually follows the same one here, but instead of pyrophosphate, your hydrogen ion, whatever is released, that is actually captured there. So the simple thing here is you can say that your DNA fragments are taken, they are broken into smaller pieces, and they are connected to bead, and a PCR reaction is run. And on the PCR reaction, along with the pyrophosphate, hydrogen ions are also released, and those hydrogen ions are actually detected, giving you the information. Okay, and this hydrogen ion is actually important for understanding the change in the pH, and this change in the pH is detected by the sensor, which is CCD. Okay, and this sorry, it's not CCD. That is actually detected by a sensor. Okay, which converts into a voltage, and this voltage actually gives you what is that nucleotide, and in this way we are able to detect the nucleotide. So this is about ion torrent sequence. Now coming to Illumina, the same thing, but here first thing is what to do is we take the fragments, then we add an adapter, okay, by ligation. After we add an adapter by ligation, then we take this bead which contains the primer for that, and we run a PCR amplification, okay, and that gives you a number of copies of sequence. We'll take each sequence and we'll repeat the procedure as it is with sequence by synthesis, which was done either in Illumina sequencing 454 or ion torrent sequencing. So then we have a nucleotide is added at each position. Okay, and this nucleotide, whatever is added, it is actually detected by a special device which is known as CCD, which is known as coupled charge device. Okay, and this coupled charge device will tell you that whatever nucleotide is emitted there, that is nothing but so and so nucleotide. So we'll read that. Okay, so once we read that, we'll understand what is. So this Illumina has increased the speed that you can sequence up to 600 gigabase pairs, and minimum sequence is 125. Okay. So the fourth method, what we have learned previously, is nothing but solid sequencing. Solid sequencing is nothing but supported oligonucleotide ligation and detection. That is known as solid. This is sequencing by ligation. So we know that it is simple procedure, straight like the previous three procedures. Okay. So you take the fragments, you add an adapter, then you fix it on the beads, and then you run a PCR. Then it gives you a label, I mean a fluorescent color, which is emitted by that, because you add a fluorescent probe to the reaction. Okay, so whenever a nucleotide is added, the fluorescent probe will be emitted, and that will detect. Okay, and this is recorded, and this is taken into consideration for. Okay, and this is how solid sequencing is done. So in the previous session, this is what we have done. Okay, the four different methods. Now we'll see what is the advantage here, the third generation sequencing technologies, and what are the different third generation sequencing technologies which are available for generating DNA sequence. Okay, this is also a little bit advantageous than the first two generations. So the third generation sequencing technologies is actually runs at a low cost. It's much faster than the second generation technology. That is what we do. Okay. The third generation technologies run at low cost and much faster than the previous second generation technologies. This is about third generation sequencing technologies. The sample preparation is here is very easy. So you have seen that the second generation, the first thing we have avoided there is what we avoided there is running a gel. So in third generation, we are avoiding PCR reaction. Okay. So here PCR reaction is not used here. So sample preparation is very easy without the need for PCR amplification, and we get long reads here. Okay, we get long reads here. Okay, we get long reads, and these reads are actually in kilobases. And the advantages here is, so when we have seen that with ion tolerant sequencing, when the sequence is homo polymer, we can't do it. Okay, and sequence is heteropolymer or heterogeneous, we can get the sequence. That is the disadvantage that we had in second generation. Now that is overcome here. So even if we have repetitive sequences also, we can easily sequence the genome. So if you have look at the statistics of the human genome, you can see here 3% is very significant, and 97% is repetitive in the genome of a human. So in that case, we should be in a position to sequence the genome without any problem and assemble them back. So third generation has enabled us to do this. Okay? So we can generate long reads at the same time. We can solve the problem of repetitive reasons. Okay? We can solve the problem of repetitive reasons. So third generation actually has two important methods. The first one is known as single molecule real-time sequencing approach, and the other one is Oxford Nanopore technology sequencing approach. Okay, these are the two methods what we have. And the other important information here is, apart from avoiding PCR, we don't record the information. We try to directly detect it from the reaction. Okay, so the previous experiments without electrophoresis, we used to detect fluorescent probes and then we used to say. But here, we don't convert them to sequences. Directly, the nucleotide itself will be given as sequence here. Okay, so that is the advantage that we have. So there are three things: cost has become low, and there is no PCR reaction, and it is directly detected, real-time sequencing. Okay, real-time sequencing. That means you can easily see while the machine is saying that each nucleotide will be seen on the screen that this is the last nucleotide which is added there. Okay, so we have two major approaches in third generation sequencing. First one is single real-time sequencing approach, and second one is Oxford Nanopore technology sequencing approach. Okay, so this SRMP, single molecule real-time sequencing approach, is actually developed by Pacific Biosciences, and this uses fluorescent labeling as previous methods we have seen. This also uses fluorescent labeling. Okay. But instead of executing cycles of amplification nucleotide, it detects signals in real time. Okay. So as there is no PCR, this will actually detect the sequence directly. Okay, in real time. And the first platform which was used for single, SMRT technology, actually there were 13% error. Okay, but these errors are distributed along the way. So this was much faster and with less, because earlier we used to repeat the process of sequencing several times and then get it. But here, with one go, we can get nearly 87% of the genome which of quality and 30% is low quality. Okay, so this is that. And here, Oxford Nanopore technology sequencing. So this was actually thing. So here, the first thing is important technology here is Mini-ion. Okay. So we used to have a large sequencer machines which require a large labs to establish here. But this is just like your PCR reaction, a machine which you can carry here and there. Okay. So Oxford Nanopore technology has developed a machine which is known as Mini-ion. Okay. And this sequence long reads, which is able to give you structural genomic variants. And this Mini-ion was actually first version of the Mini-ion was released in the year 2014. Okay, so this is like just like your PCR machine, which is connected to your computer, and you can just directly get the sequence while it is sequencing. Okay, so this is about Oxford Nanopore technology. Now, what is actually Oxford Nanopore technology? So this Oxford Nanopore technology, what does it do? Is it takes an initial DNA strand. Okay, then a protein nanopore is actually used to pass the DNA strand. So whatever DNA strand we have taken, that is passed through a protein nanopore. So here proteins are actually form a nanopore structure, and that through that nanopore we send this DNA sequence. So when you send this DNA sequence through that, there will be a fluctuation which is generated while this is actually moving there. Okay, so that fluctuation will generate current, and that current is actually different when different nucleotides are passing through that pore. So this will actually give you a sequence. So we try to see what is the current which is already there and how it is generating. So based on the current, whatever current is there, when it passes, we say that this is the nucleotide. In that way, we can detect what is the nucleotide. Okay. So this variance is recorded and then interpreted to analyze the sequence. In this way, direct strand and template strand are set, and inverse strand and complementary. So we get a consensus sequence in both direction, and then we have. Okay. So how that is done? So I'll okay, I'm showing you the whiteboard. So you can see here. So I said that this is your DNA strand, and this DNA strand will move through a nanopore-like structure. Okay. So this is the protein. Nanopore. Okay. So this DNA strand will move through this tunnel here. Okay. This DNA strand will move through this tunnel. So once it moves through this tunnel, this will generate ion, or you could say current. Okay. So this current is actually different for each nucleotide. So whenever a nucleotide is passing through this chamber, this protein nanopore chamber, you can see that each nucleotide will give you a specific current. Okay. So A will have one current, T will have one current, G will have one current, C will have one current. And in this way, we try to get this. So once this is passing and the currents are nucleated, this difference in this current is actually recorded. Okay, the difference in this current is actually recorded. So you can see here a nanopore, I mean this DNA sequence. This DNA sequence this DNA sequence actually move through this nanopore through the whatever pore size what we have. This is the pore. Okay, and while it is moving, it generates ion or current. Okay, this current is actually fluctuating and different when the nucleotide varies, and this fluctuation, that is when A is there, it's different, T is there, different, G is there. See, this is recorded, and this record will tell you that what is that nucleotide. So based on the current, we'll try to detect the nucleotide, and that is while passing through the protein nanopore. Okay, in this way, it tries to move the DNA sequence. That is, it first moves initially. It first moves the direct strand, okay, to generate a template read, followed by the inverse strand, that is a reverse one, okay, to generate the complementary. So you have a template read and you have a complementary. Now what do we do is we generate a consensus sequence. Okay, so consensus sequence is nothing but, I think, do people know what is consensus sequence? What is consensus sequence?
Don't know, sir.
Okay, so assume that you have this as a sequence. This is your template read Second one is a complementary read. So this is actually C A D. Here it is A. Difference is there, and assume that this is the one. Okay. So this is in one direction, and this is in the reverse direction. Okay. So the consensus sequence is nothing but you see first at first position what is there? It is C. At second position it is A. At third position it is T is common. And at fourth position they are T by A. So here we'll write T by A. At fifth position it is A. At sixth position it is C. At seventh position it is A. Okay. If you try to derive the sequence in this way of both of them, then it's known as consensus. So here consensus means majority. Okay. Majority which is there, which is common between two of the sequences. That is between the template read and the complementary read. Okay. Template read and complementary read. We try to generate this one. So here CAATAG is there and CAAT. So this template and complementary read, we try to derive what is the common sequence. So this T by A can be maybe a common error or maybe a actual read. Okay. So we try to generate a consensus sequence like this. After we generate a consensus sequence like this, we'll get a sequence, resulting consensus sequence in two directional read. So we have read from 3' to 5'. At the same time, we've read from 5' to 3'. Template read is from 3' to 5'. Complement read is from 5' to 3'. So we got a sequence in two directional. Okay. This actually is way because earlier methods like the first generation, second generation, and even the SMRT will actually give you a sequence either in a 3' to 5' or from 5' to 3'. But we are computationally deriving it, the computation complementary read sequence. Okay, and then telling that this is a sequence. But Oxford Nanopore technology has actually given us an advantage to just get the consensus sequence in one go. Okay, the machine itself will get this. So this has actually changed a lot now. This is the third generation. In the fourth generation is Oxford. I'm in the fifth generation is Oxford. Okay, but the slight changes are there in this Oxford. This nanopore technology. Okay, in this nanopore. So this has actually come now to a low cost, and we're able to generate small sizes sequences. And the major advantage with this is we are able to get the consensus sequence of all. Okay, consensus sequence of all. So the sequence of data is displayed directly on the screen, which is easy to read and reduces the delay. Generally, earlier we used to get just that whatever data which is there, and we used to convert that data to sequence. But if you use Oxford, you get directly the data. Okay, and Minion is actually able to generate 150 kbps of both the complementary with just a 12% error. So 10% error is common and good. Okay. And this technology has evolved, and another device has come out from this Minion that is known as Primitoin. Okay, and this was actually released by Sequencer. The device. So I show you one code here. So Primitoin actually has 48 flow cells with 3,000 cores, and it can operate at 5,000 base pairs per second. You can, 500 base pairs per second. So per second, it can easily read 500 base pairs. So you can see, imagine the speed here. 500 base pairs per second means if you give your human genome sequence, you can just read it within 1 day. The whole genome. That is what the advantage what we have. Okay. So with this advantage, you can see here, huge human genome can be sequenced within a shorter time. Okay, huge human genome can be sequenced within a shorter time. So this is the actually the advantage what we have. So coming to third generation, we have two methodologies of this method, SMRT and Oxford. So SMRT, just the same thing what we have done previously, we do it, okay, but here we have a nucleotide which is added here. While the nucleotide is added, the signal is detected and directly is given on the screen. That is the only thing. Okay. So this is the about SRMP, single molecule real time, and the next one is Oxford nanopore. So we have a sequence what we take. That sequence is passed through the nanopore, protein nanopore. Once it passes through the protein nanopore, we have a ion fluctuation there, and that ion fluctuation will give you a difference. And each nucleotide will have different difference. Okay, and this is actually detected by the device. Okay, and it directly displays on the screen. So once it displays, we get the sequence. In this way, we first send the complementary strand and direct strand and the complementary strand. So and then we generate the consensus. Once this consensus is generated, we'll get the sequence. Okay, and in this way, you can generate the sequences in shorter time. Okay, so with this, we are able to sequence large genomes like human within a short time. So this is about third generation sequencing technology. Okay, Gopal. All of you on your videos? Gopal? Sir, can you explain how a nanopore, Oxford nanopore technology detects the or sequences the DNA? Gopal. Yes, Gopal. You have to speak up. All of you on your videos? Gopal. You're not speaking. Harika? So if you're not speaking means you did not get any attendance for the class. Harika.
Sir,
Yeah. Question is same. How Oxford nanopore technology is used for DNA sequencing? Yes, Harika. Okay, Balaji.
Yes, sir. Sir, it is a third generation sequencing method, sir, where instead of the like it directly generates the nucleotide data,
Okay.
and first the DNA strand is taken and it is passed through a protein nanopore, where the protein nanopore detects the current fluctuations in the DNA sequence according to the nucleotide present in it, and the according to the current fluctuations, the data gets displayed.
Okay. So when the current is generated, is it specific to each nucleotide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that point you have to add.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So whenever the current is generated, so we have a DNA sequence, we take the DNA sequence, the DNA sequence passes through the protein nanopore. When it passes through the protein nanopore, it generates ions of current. Okay. That ion or current is specific to each nucleotide. So this specificity of the ions or current is actually detected and displayed on the screen. In this way, we can read the whole sequence. Okay.
Sir, doubts.
Yeah.
Sir, how is the DNA sequence like how is it passed through the nanopore, sir? What force is used?
What?
Like in electrophoresis, we use electricity to make the ions move, sir.
Hmm.
So what force is used over here to make the DNA strand to pass through the nanopore?
So it is ion forces. Okay. We allow it to pass through the nanopore. So it should be mostly ion forces.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So once it passes, so we get sequence. So the first sequence what is passed through the nanopore and deriving the sequence is template read, and the second sequence what we get is complementary read. So once we get the template read and complementary read, we make a consensus of that. So I already showed you how to make a consensus sequence from that. So once we get the majority, then we look at it. Okay. And the major advantage with this third generation sequencing is nothing but structural variance. So I showed you one nucleotide which is actually different, T by A. So that can be an error while reading, or that can be due to variation in the sequence, which is actually contributing to the structure of the organism. Okay. So in this way, we can detect variations in single nucleotides at the same time, yeah, structural variance. So this is about Oxford nanopore technology. And the biggest advantage with this is it is just made into a small device, just like a PCR vision server. Okay, that means it's just like a box, a small box like that. In that, we are able to do the DNA sequencing. So earlier DNA sequencing is just like a huge room which was run, now turned into a minion. That means this machine can be taken to the field, and there the sample can be directly taken. If you can provide power supply, or if you have a battery backup, you can sequence it. So the technology has turned from the large devices to small devices, which we keep it on a tabletop device. Okay, so this is that. Now, in the next class, after we'll take a 5 minutes break. After the break, we'll come and we'll continue with the fourth generation sequencing technologies. Okay, is it clear? We'll meet around 10:43.
Yes, sir.